Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Kenny has given his thoughts on the OpTic Legacy match coming up in a few days time, but also drama with regard to the brand new Carolina Royal Ravens. Their former head coach when it was London, saying that he is owed money, as are potential other former and current players and staff for the team. I thought franchising was meant to stop this stuff, but apparently not, and we have yet more organisational drama on the table. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First, I wanted to shout out the OpTic boys because, I mean, they've done a great job with these pictures. It frustrates me every year when, generally, when you get the headshots from the CDL, they usually do them before the first event. This past season, they were actually pretty good and they were usable again. The year before that, I think it was the Vanguard year, maybe even the Cold War year, I think especially the Vanguard year, the screen, like the headshots were just terrible. I don't know what they were doing with the lighting. It was a disaster. But all these ones the OpTic guys did in this, shoot they've done before this Legacy match in a couple of days' time were coming out pretty well. These are at least some of the examples here of Kenny. We've got this one from Pred. I think we saw a teaser of this yesterday, actually. This is the Shotzzy one. This is the Dashy one, or at least one of the ones that they did. So, yeah, I don't know. Good lighting. They've done a good job here. So maybe CDL take some notes. Even though I think they did do a much better job on that one last year, to be fair. There was also this noted during the content day. Another game chat episode. I believe they did one of these when the team was very first announced and Pred was leaking all sorts of stuff. It was kind of funny because, Shotzzy had the same face towards Pred in this image, I guess, for the new episode that he did for the first one when Pred was just leaking all the drama about Seattle and stuff behind the scenes that we hadn't heard about before. And Shotzzy was like, damn, it's meant to be me doing the leaking here. What are you playing at, Pred? So looking forward to whenever this drops as well. Also, this news here from Mohak, free agent for challenges. So again, this is pretty much the time of year where players, well, it's interesting because there's still three teams that we really have no idea what they're doing, and one of them we're going to discuss in a couple of seconds. But Mohak had, look, we think he had an offer from Paris maybe a couple of years ago, and do I kind of say that he should have taken that for sure? Not necessarily, right? I don't really blame him for turning that down at the time, given what typically happens for players that go and play for Legion. But look, he probably did have, we think, an offer somewhere in the CDL. People like, is it Octane would say, always take the offer, you got to give it a go. And now Mohak finds himself in a spot where he's not getting the offers. It's tricky to tell because definitely there was a time during, let's say, Cold War and even the end of Vanguard when he won that World Championship that year again, so he went back-to-back in Challengers World Championships, that he probably should have been picked up. I think he was good enough to be. The issue is that, look, he's an AR player. It's tough to find spots for those players in the league. And he didn't have a great year last year either. So teams are like, well, he probably was of the caliber to get signed a couple of years ago. Now, is that necessarily the case anymore? Is he the man for the job? And people will be like, oh, accuracy gets a spot over Mohak. But it's like, at least accuracy, you know what you're going to get. You know that he can get the best out of players like Pred, players like Standy, and others. And that's their intention going forward on Minnesota Rocker. Lamar, get the best out of Awakening, right? That's pretty much the plan for them going forwards. And you know that accuracy does bring that to the table. Yes, individually, he might not be the best player in the world, but I can totally understand why accuracy gets a spot. And I don't think it's just Friendship League cheese. I do think there's a little bit more to it in terms of choosing ARs that actually have, you know, proven to have more aspects outside of just getting some kills. And this is why it's really difficult for players in Mohak's position right now to really lock something down. But still, could Legion or one of these other teams still come in and give him a go? I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility because there aren't still that many players to go around. Now, one of those teams is the Royal Ravens, the Carolina Royal Ravens. They actually have managed to get a new sponsor here, it seems, with Asus or whatever's going on, because we were talking about why do they even move to Carolina in the first place? What's exactly the benefit for them changing their city location? And let's be honest, give it 12, 18 months. I don't imagine these city-based names are really going to be a thing anymore. And if they are, they'll be for teams that want to keep them. Minnesota Rocker probably want to keep it. Do Toronto want to keep it, for example? Would they prefer to just become like Ultra if they could just be Ultra as that 5 letters? Would that be cleaner? I don't know. I think the teams would have different perceptions. OpTic would just go to being OpTic Gaming if they could, right? I'm pretty sure. So some teams would want to keep the city-based thing, some teams probably wouldn't. And we were like, well, if they're leaving London, why? What's the benefits there? Will they be able to sign new sponsors? Because, let's be honest, there's a big market for COD in the UK and they squandered the opportunities over there. But whatever the case is, we get gaming on the go. What can be better than that? And in the reply, we get this from Dominate. So Dominate was London's head coach for the last couple of years, and he was officially, well, we'll get back to this tweet in a second, but as he says on September the 6th, I'm back and will be exploring my options for the future. So he was released by the Ravens, and since then they've now become Carolina Royal Ravens. It's still the same company at the end of the day. It's still owned by Rect Global. Rect Global still partnered with this infinite reality AI metaverse company that they said was worth $1 billion. It ain't worth $1 billion. So I think you can understand why there might be some degree of cash flow problems here coming around on the back end. But yeah, Dominate's looking for a next opportunity in the CDL. Look, we saw what happens with Brian Saint, right? He was released by Minnesota Rocket. He comes into that head coach role now on the Ravens and will be building a team going forwards. But as Dominate then says in reply to this tweet, so he's basically taken the mick out of this statement, gaming on the go, what's better than that? Gaming for a company that pays their current and ex-employees what they're owed. And, you know, Crone's like spicy face. So either he's just happening to talk about a hypothetical scenario in which a good company will actually pay its employees, or, what is pretty obvious, he's talking to Ravens like, hey, you owe me some money, as do you to some other players. So this is really interesting. And as I said before, this is the type of thing that would happen every month pre-CDL. I mean, look, the CDL has its flaws, and when it initially was confirmed, I, along with many others, were saying, this is not a good idea. And maybe it's proved to be that way, but there has been some benefits. In theory, all this big money coming in would mean these organizations are legitimate organizations. They have the funding, they have the resources. It's no longer situations like, you know, Red Reserve, let's say, that a load of their players were owed a load of money, Denial Esports. There's countless examples of organizations in esports history, especially in COD. We're talking like, I mean, especially years like 2018, 2019, stuff like that. All sorts of this drama going on. Midnight Esports, for example. So many examples. And then when the CDL came through, that was theoretically coming to an end. But apparently, this type of stuff still happens. Because as Dominate says, they clearly, at least his implication is, they're not paying their current and ex-employees what they are owed. So Dominate's clearly implying that he's owed money. I mean, he's been released by them now a couple of months ago, but he's pretty much saying that even from the time he was on that team, maybe it's a couple of months of salary, I don't know. But maybe we'll see more detail on this in the coming days. He says he's owed money, they haven't paid him yet. And even, I mean, he's kind of implying that some of the current players, because I'm sure he's still in contact with some of the guys that are still kind of involved there, whether it's back-end staff or whatever, that also aren't getting paid. And this is the thing with the way that Riot have structured their league in Valorant. And there's still problems with this, absolutely. But they've come up with a partnership model whereby teams don't just pay to enter. Because in the CDL's case, the teams paid $25 million to get in. But 5 years down the line, and they haven't necessarily paid that money, they've paid maybe 5 mil, and then the rest of it's in installments, and maybe the installments will get wiped off the face of the earth, which probably will happen, to be honest, at some point in the near future. So, you know, with all that going on, those teams 5 years later can still run out of money. Yes, they paid for their spot. Does that mean they're actually in a healthy financial position? Not necessarily at all. And it's definitely possible that despite the fact that these organizations all had money 5 years ago, that's not necessarily the case now, and situations like this can and maybe will continue to occur. And in Valorant, they decided that instead of paying to get in, it actually is the other way around. Valorant pay, or Riot pay the teams a stipend to be part of the league, but they are partners. So they will only choose organizations that they look at their financials and they say, all right, this is a respectable organization that's looking good. Now, even having said that, it doesn't necessarily mean that the organizations they partner with are. In the case of Sentinels in recent times, there's been drama about that, but still, it should create an ecosystem where this type of stuff doesn't happen. Whereas maybe it was somewhat inevitable that the organizations that had money at the start of the CDL, the inception of it, now don't anymore, and now we're going back to the old days where these organizations that have run out of money can't pay the players, and of course maybe former coaches as well. So could be more drama to come on that, as we'll see maybe over the coming days. Definitely stay tuned for this one. Also wanted to mention though what Kenny had to say on the OpTic Legacy tournament, which is coming up on the 1st of October, so just a couple of days away at this point. Dashy, of course, he's back in Texas now, playing some Cold War chals. We know there's a couple of Cold War throwback tournaments coming soon. Zuma's one, we believe, is one. It's like the team of Dashy, Scrappy, TJ and CleanX, I think, is the team of 4 they're meant to be running it with. And yeah, here's it here with Shotzzy. We can actually see a little bit of Kenny in the background here for some content day that they're up to. But we did see some great promotional graphics here from OpTic on this OpTic Legacy game. Scump versus Shotzzy. I like the way they've done this one. You know, world titles, lands won, status retired, status active, the king, the prodigy, all this. So it's pretty good, to be fair, because you know, they used to have the Prince type of situation going on with Envoy. They can't really use that again. So, you know, it works pretty well. And I think my money might be on Scump's team here, but I guess we'll see. So if you guys have been living under a rock the last few days, aren't aware of this that's going on, they're playing a best of 9 show match on COD Ghosts between Crim, Karma, Scump and Embos as one team, and then the full OpTic Texas team on the other side, Pred, Shotzzy, Kenny and Dashy. And we saw Dashy's comment on this yesterday. He said, these old guys think they run boots, there's no way. And now Kenny actually doubles down and says, everyone thinks that we don't have any experience in these games, but this is about to be a cakewalk. So, you know, he knows what he's doing. Dashy knows what he's doing. They're hyping up this match and saying that it's going to be easy. We don't really have any trash talk back the other way, apart from Embo's initial comments on the OpTic podcast the other day where he said that, yeah, if it's Ghost, it's going to be easy for us. But, you know, we don't have Crim or Karma or Scump coming out and saying, oh, you know, there's no way, what are you talking about, Sunshine? You're going to get smoked type thing. But we'll see. I mean, as I say, hopefully it goes down to the wire. There's going to be Blitz and there's going to be, I mean, pretty much all of these players will have gone back and played some Ghost at some point. I don't know so much about Shotzzy, but definitely going into World War II, when that game was about to come out, that was the year, that was the off-season where everyone went back to play COD Ghost, and it was fantastic. Like, everyone would play Ghost, Search and Destroy for that off-season. I'm sure Kenny got involved in that. I'm sure Dashy got involved in that as well. I imagine Pred has played some Ghost in his time as well. So, you know, Search and Destroy, I think, will be interesting. It's the respawns that I'm more looking forward to seeing how the OpTic Texas guys can fare, because Blitz is a very different game mode to what is played nowadays, and Domination hasn't been played for a few years either, especially the way some of the rotations work on these maps. The likes of Bose and the guys that really played back in the day on OpTic Legacy should have a better grasp on that. But maybe Kenny disagrees in the way he expects the outcome to go. And just to mention this as well, these are all of the CDL nominations, apart from, I guess, Jake Hale is maybe missing from here, but you guys can see that, I mean, honestly, again, the CDL just keeps killing it. So I believe the voting is now open for this if you guys want to get involved and vote on who you think Esports Controller Player of the Year, HyDra and Kiz up for nomination there, Dareal Coach of the Year, Subliners Team of the Year, Chance and Miles, fantastic. They're both up there for nomination again. Scump's on here. I think also the Breakdown's on here as well. Scrap for Breakthrough Player of the Year, but he's going to have a hard time probably against Demon 1. Puckett, Nameless Alec at the entire desk. Just great to see. And yeah, voting is now available. All that good stuff. So everyone's intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
Is the guitar at the HQ? Nah, we let Bella have it. Bella really wanted it, and like, I was like, all right, just take it. Like, we went backstage, and Bella literally looked up at me like this, and like death stared me for a minute like this, just straight face. And I was just looking at her. I was like, just take it, like, or just have it. Like, she really wanted it, so I was like, all right, just have it. Dude, yeah, I was like, all right. I got pressed fucking hella hard.